Hi everybody, I am Bill. How are you? Well, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Okay, we will start. Elaine, a young girl of 17 years of age, was surprised by a phone call from someone. His voice appears sweet and masculine and has a distinctive charm. The girl asked in her soft voice who was talking to her, and he replied that it was Mr. Pearl, and he got her number from Mrs. Smith and told her that he had called her about her work as a babysitter. He told her that he had a 6-year-old child and that there was no one else at home, and that he's going to an official work appointment and that he could not take the child with him, and asked her to come to his house to take care of the child. Elaine immediately agreed and asked for the address. He gave her the address, thanked her, and hung up. Elaine went up to the top floor of her house to change her clothes, and she did not notice the television as she was turning it to comfort her loneliness, and she did not notice the news about the absence of a 17-year-old girl in mysterious circumstances, and no one knows where she disappeared. Elaine wore her most precious and glamorous clothes. She was attracted by the voice of this talking pearl. But when she finished with this matter, she noticed something. She does not remember that the babysitter was for a lady called Smith, but does she really remember all the names of those whose children she had? Elaine smiled at the mirror after she finished her mock-up, then took a taxi and went to Mr. Pearl's house. A remote area, and one house, surrounded by a garden full of trees and dry plants. Elaine stood in front of the garden gate, then moved the door slightly, and entered the house. She kept walking in the garden until she reached the main door, and rang the bell, but no one answered, so she was sure that there was no one in the house. But she noticed that the door was open, so she removed it and entered. She kept contemplating the place, until her eyes fell on a paper hanging on the wall, bearing her name. Written on it from Mr. Pearl to find him, telling her that he had to go out a few minutes ago, and that he asking her to sit down until he returned, and that the child's sleeping upstairs, and she should not to wake him up unless she hears him crying, and he thanked her. Elaine was upset that she could not meet the owner of the attractive voice, but she sat in the hallway of the house, and she called her friend Amber to tell her that she had arrived at the place. Amber told her that she not feeling well because she had separated from her lover and that her mood very bad. And Elaine asked her to come to entertain her, and she sent her the address. But Amber was worried and told Elaine that this is the address of her aunt who died years ago. But Elaine said maybe Pearl bought it, and she asked her to come and bring their favorite toy. So Amber told her she was coming. After Amber came, she was worried.
Hi Elaine. Elaine, I am worried, as the house too old be admired for anyone to buy. Welcome Amber. I agree with you. But there are many tastes, and it is very likely that the man wanted some solitude. Coming.
Amber suggested that they spend their time exploring the house.
So, let's spend our time exploring the house. My aunt had many secrets.
Amber convinced Ellen, and Ellen agreed.
Okay.
So, the two girls went upstairs, wandered around until Amber's feet hit a wooden box in one of the dark rooms. She lit a candle, and looking inside the box, she found a letter written in the handwriting of a young child, in which he explains the sufferings of love, and he will take revenge on her because she rejected him, and he will take her life. He wrote that the letter was addressed to Sophia. Amber shivered as she read the letter. While Ellen heard the sound of a baby crying, she thought it was the little boy who had woken up. So she left Amber and went looking for the baby. While Amber continues to read, Sophia is her deceased aunt. And suddenly, she found a photograph of a little girl, with Sophia written on it. This is her aunt when she was a child. She had died at the age of 17 years, and no one knows how she died. Amber started to feel nervous. How can a young child kid do like that? And also his signature as Pearl, is not that the name of the owner of the house? Amber is beginning to understand. Pearl had loved Amber's aunt when they were little children, and when they were 17 he killed her. And here Amber found photographs, so she examined them to find pictures of girls who had suddenly disappeared, and they were all 17 years old, and they all look at the camera in apparent terror. And here Amber understood, and went looking for Ellen.
Ellen.
Ellen had followed the sound, and entered the room from which the sound was coming. She was amazed at how can a father cover a child like that, and she went to remove the cover from his face. But she found only a voice recorder, and a pillow that took the shape of a child from under the blanket. And suddenly, a voice came to her from behind her, saying, "Hello dear, smile at the camera now." Ellen turned to find someone smiling savagely, and before she could scream, she was killed.